You got some floating pancakes going on right there, man.
Yeah, man. So,
Sick.
so what's up, everybody? um, yeah, yeah. Hold on one second. It's funny. I just had the echo, so I answered that twice. But no, what's up, everybody? I've got Rio with me from DCLPlazas. I'm happy to have Rio today. I haven't had talk with you in how long now? It's been way too long, basically.
I know we've been trying to organize this for some time now, but like for one reason or another, we've missed each other. But hey, the most
Yeah,
important thing is that we're here right now.
of course, yeah. But yeah, how's it going? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Like, I wish this virus had like take a hike and just let us get back to normal. But let's not go down that road today.
We might go down that road. We might go down that road. So yeah, speaking of that, like, how is just this whole? Let's just kind of start from there. Like, how is everything since the beginning? You know, since I think the last time we really kind of kicked it was the beginning. So like, where are we at since the beginning with your feel for DCL, for metaverses, and where we're going soon?
Oh wow, that's a heavy question. Okay.
Yeah. We got time. That's what I'm saying. We got time. We can get in pieces of that. You know?
Exactly, mate. Exactly. Okay, so yeah, do you know what? I'm really happy with the way things are going. Like, not only with the NFT industry as a whole, but like the whole metaverse thing seems to really be catching on, and people are sort of little by little they're understanding it and they're getting it more. Like the daily active users is increasing. Obviously, we'd always like to see it go more and faster, but little by little, you know, like the more experiences we all build in these worlds, then the more incentive other people have to come. So yeah, I've just been really like overwhelmed by how well Crypto Voxels has been doing with its weekly whip, with how Decentraland is going, especially with the Halloween festival, which was fantastic. It was really well done. And obviously Somnium Space is making some good headway. I think their second auction is going real well.
You know, I think Somnium Space is starting to kind of come into the community a little bit more too. I'd like to see more of their like kind of just regular members, the people that own the land, kind of come hang out more. You know. But Archer's been reaching out, and that's been cool. You know, I think that's been all right. You know, so that's been.
Yeah, I get you. And obviously, I mean, just to finish off the metaverse is obviously we don't talk about Sandbox just now.
Sandbox. I mean, Sandbox is doing this thing. I mean, you know, I feel like they all got their own thing. You know, they all got their own space. Sandbox, I think, will be real game oriented and probably be a lot easier to make a game in Sandbox than it is to make a game here. Although you can make a more game that's probably more dynamic here. You know what I mean? So
yeah, totally.
You know, it's gonna be like that. But I think you're right. I think we're heading in a good direction. As far as DCLPlazas, now I know you kind of like you gave it a facelift at one point. What do you think it's looking like from here on? Maybe not from here on, but you know, from here into the near future.
Yeah, so I'm at a really strange place with DCLPlazas now. So I started initially as a news or blog site just to sort of cover stories and give a bit more like content to Decentraland as it was growing. This was before it even had a map. There was no map. It was just very few investors, and we're all kicking in and all chatting. But I think people wanted more content, so that's what I started DCLPlazas to do. And over time, it's grown and it's evolved. And this year, I've started covering, albeit not so much, Crypto Voxels and Somnium Space. I really want to sort of start producing some meaty content behind there. But the thing is, like, there's just so many shiny objects right now in NFT and DeFi. Like, I'm looking there one minute, I'm looking there the next.
Yeah,
you know, like
true.
I don't know what to focus on. So I'm struggling with my focus just now. But with regards to DCLPlazas, so I've got like a whole network of these kiosks. You may have seen them around. They all look very, very similar in each of these worlds, and the idea was that they're there to sort of give people information about the local areas, maybe pump out some crypto news, maybe have some gatherings and some events from time to time. But I think like the speed at which things have evolved technologically with Decentraland and with all these other platforms, like there's so many other options now. So I'm almost like bombarded with options and don't know which way to turn almost. So I'm biding my time. There's no rush. We're progressing slowly here, but I would definitely like to hear some comments from the community about where they'd like to see like DCLPlazas go with this. what sort of content they'd like to see. Would they like to see some events being pumped out there through the metaverse, and would people get behind them? Because they do take a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of focus and planning as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every project that I've been involved with, how big or small, or whether it went through or didn't go through, has been a kind of a pretty big undertaking with a lot of planning and a lot of, kind of trying to link people's schedules and everything else besides just the regular work that it takes to do. So, I understand that. I know you want to try to, have the community kind of like help direct you, into the direction, like, you're going forward. As far as like, kind of like even going further back, like kind of coming into this, like how did you ended up with DCLPlazas? Like how did that start in the whole beginning?
Yeah, so I mean, like I say, it started with just writing articles and with no real end goal. I just wanted to provide some extra content for the community and really bring people together and create more of a community vibe, because Decentraland wasn't really creating content around the community. It was creating content around just solely the project and the
in the early days, they was just trying to sell the squares at the time, like,
exactly,
like,
yeah. And I thought they needed a bit more support than that, just coming at it from a different angle. Because as a business, they're probably not going to be covering those sort of things. So I saw the need for that, and I've been writing, but I've been writing less and less recently, trying to come up with like a real solid strategy on what to do and what the community actually needs right now. Because I think in many ways, what I set out, why I started DCLPlazas is to provide this sort of extra layer of information and education and news. Well, I think Decentraland has actually stepped their game, and they're actually doing a really good job of it themselves.
And we talked about this a few times with the map and with a lot of different things that they're putting in forward, and that's good. It's good.
And I couldn't agree more. It's brilliant.
And honestly, it can open up opportunity for you to kind of like now branch out further. Like, let's say you were covering map and stuff like that before. Now you can cover kind of stories, what people are doing, like things like that. Where now, because DCL is expanding, even with me, like I've got, before it was like I would do one of these and I'd be the only thing going on, and the other day I put up, I felt bad too, I put up a tweet in Boss's Discord there, the Decentral Games, and he's like, hey man, I'm doing an event today, and I'm like, ooh, my bad, but that's where we're at, we're there now, where we got like multiple things going on, there's probably something going on right now. I don't check every time, and I'm not the best with that, but I try to schedule when I'm scheduling this stuff, I got to schedule with Rio. He's in England, I'm in America, it's not that easy to just schedule it up, so I do what I can, But
no, Franky, you're doing a fantastic job. Like, we've seen yourself and other content creators come through, and they're doing a fantastic job. Like, the more the merrier, Like, we need as many people creating content around all these worlds as possible, just to try and like promote these events and really build a community around them. And what we've seen over recent weeks has been fantastic. Like, people are really getting on board, and I just want to see more of it. I think maybe we need a few more developers to be working on it. Like,
it would be nice to have. Yeah, exactly. It'd be nice to have like some people are working on something that you don't even know them. Like kind of like Dragon City. Like, I know Roy, but I don't talk to Roy every single week. So every time I catch up with him, he's got something that is way that he's been working on for quite a while at that point. And we need more of that. I think we need like whole teams that just like are their own thing and trying to do their push forward whatever they're trying to push forward. Because I'm over here doing my thing with video and I don't know, random ideas. It's so tough, like you said, like shiny things. Man, especially with DCL, like I can come up with an idea that, like the other day, I was like, this is the stupidest thing, but it was funny because I was hanging out with Clark Kent the other day, and he does a lot of grabbing models and kind of reskinning them. So I like, let me go figure out if I can do something real quick, and I did that lowrider thing. Did you see the lowrider thing?
Oh my, that was sort of jumping cow.
Yeah. So I went and found a lowrider, and it had some animations, and so I put it in the scene, and it worked, and it was funny. And so I did like a commercial for this thing, so it was funny.
You just hit on something else there. Like, I think another great thing that's happened for anybody who's been sort of interested in any of these worlds for quite some time, that they've all upskilled. You might not realize it, but actually, maybe you haven't made like a whole bunch of your investments from land or from renting or from games or anything. But one thing many people have done is they've upskilled. Like they've learned skills that you probably wouldn't have learned before. And I think these are also skills that are the future skills that people will be needing. Like you get people like, I don't know, bakers and butchers and stuff. Well, all those guys are struggling right now, and those skills are fastly becoming obsolete. But the skills that we're learning here as a community together, and everybody's so like supportive. If you need a hand, just jump in Discord and somebody will give you a hand.
Somebody will give you a hand. Yeah, they'll talk with you and kind of trade back and forth. At least they'll point you in the right directions. If you, let's say you're trying to figure out some coding, they might give you the documents. They're not gonna say, hey, this is how you do it. Like, hey, give this a read. And then ask me a question later. Something. But you're learning. I mean, we are all learning like a lot of really cool things. I was talking to Clark Kent about that the other day too. He's like, you're learning things. You're not gonna go back to your old job. You're gonna continue to do this kind of stuff. I had, I do a lot of this kind of stuff, talking and stuff like that. So I was dealing with a company, and they were asking me about the doing TV for an event or whatever it was, and she kind of was like, you're starting to have a skill set that's kind of unique to what's going on in Decentraland. And that was pretty cool, thinking of it that way. And I was like, wow, well, maybe if I need a job, that would be, but
exactly. But that's the way it's going. I do believe that. Like, how cool would like a 24/7 news site go? Like, sort of like a Sky Sports News or CNN News, like just constantly running, and you switch over presenters every 2-3 hours depending on what time zone you're on, and you got the tickers running along the bottom with what's happening in the day, and really you only need to log in for like, I don't know, 20 minutes a day, and it goes on a loop. And you see a 20-minute solid loop with what's happened during the day, and then you just keep flicking over and keep updating it every 2 or 3 hours. I think that's maybe the way we could be going. I'd like to explore that anyway. Yeah.
I mean, I thought about it. We had kind of explored the idea with the NBC idea. We were going to have the broadcast network, but it started to be a pretty big undertaking, and it just ended up kind of like wasn't working out. So I was like, let's all just kind of go our own ways. Open Entity was doing great with his art, and we were just like, what? And Clark Kent was doing really good. I was like, all right, let's kind of do our own things. We're equally as strong on our own, But
yeah, absolutely, and I get that as well. That's another thing that I was going to like to talk about a little bit. Would be like, I think it'd be a really like sort of advantageous event to get people who are all entrepreneurs, who all have skills to bring to this thing, and bring them together in one event, so you can just like maybe meet and mingle, like and chat to one another, say, hey, I'm a designer, I'm a coder, I've got this idea, you've got that idea, what should we do? And taking that one step further, like maybe you could actually invite some sort of VC firms or these incubators, and they could be like sort of create this sort of Shark Tank environment whereby they listen.
That is like a really good idea. You could definitely do that. Like you could, because like let's say you had an idea, right? You wanted to pitch the base of the idea. You didn't a game. Let's say you had let's say an episode of this Shark Tank. You have a game, you have somebody with an event idea, and then you have somebody with like a concert idea, let's say, right? And they all kind of build a base model of what it's going to look like, even though it's not, let's say, functional or whatever, not going on or whatever. And you show the whale people or shark people, what it's going to look like, and then it can be like a Shark Tank type deal where they say, I think that's worth, putting some money on or whatever it is,
Exactly. So I think that's definitely something I'm looking at setting up. It's just about finding the time. So the way it would be a meet and mingle. Everybody sort of meet in world, have a chat. There's still a few tech advancements that we need in order to make that become a reality. But I think maybe Crypto Voxels might be a better place for that just now. They've introduced an option where you can change the slides just by clicking the screen, I believe. So if you did a presentation, you could just click the screen and it changes the slides, and they have voice chat, so maybe that would be a good way around it. But I think it can still be done in Decentraland. Like,
right. I mean, we're not that far out from voice chat here, and also, I mean, as far as slides go and stuff like that, if we did something like this where I can just have like, we can do anything on the screen. I can screen share, and we can do whatever you would want to do. So, as far as that goes, I think that could be done easily right here. Voice chat, I feel like we're really close. I don't know 100%, but I feel like it's not that far out.
Mm-hmm.
And not that we can plan an event for it, because you know how it goes when something gets implemented. It's gonna have its bugs like everything else, So
Exactly, but I mean, as you know, like I created over a year ago now. I created DCLRealto.com. I wound that down because it's probably too early for its time.
Mm-hmm.
I might look at doing that again, but I sort of hope that somebody else will take that.
Hey, that's where I got this building from, right?
Yeah, you met KJ through there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, at least it did some good. But the idea was to bring skills together, bring investors together, bring ideas together with those who have the skills to do them, form a group, and let's figure something out.
Yeah. No, these guys, I just like looked in the chat. These guys are talking about horse racing, and I think horse racing would be great. There's also a project, right? What's the name of that project, Rio?
Zed, yeah, I'm quite invested in Zed.
If you could integrate Zed Run somehow into the casino, like let's say you had screens of Zed Run, horse races going on in the casino, and you could bet live. Woo!
Yeah, that's something I'm already working on with.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Little gems.
I've been chatting with Rob and the guys. We're definitely going to put something together. It's going to be a sick ass building. With not only like the option to bet, which will probably be on Augur. So that's decentralized betting in a decentralized world.
Mm-hmm.
It's all starting to come together and and I love these sort of cross project ideas and formats that are really coming about. And honestly, I'm so excited about it all. I think we're in a really cool space right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, like I said a long time ago, I always felt that Decentraland had more of the possibility of being just kind of like an internet page, but in 3D. So you can pretty much do anything. If you could, dream it, you can probably make it happen. So if you wanted to integrate different companies, I was kind of getting into APIs, at least studying like what they can do and understanding them. I definitely can't put one in yet, but if you were to be able to integrate a lot of APIs into Decentraland, man, I mean, you could almost do anything here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had a look at APIs before, but they're not so simple to those who aren't that tech minded.
Oh no! I mean, I was studying for a couple of days. I reached out to a couple of people. They were like, "Yeah, get back to me when you know a little bit more." It's tough, because it's like you got to kind of write your own little program off to the side, and then it's another level. I'm still learning how to place things in my house, so I think that I'm on place things in my house level, but I'll get there.
Speaking about your house, man, you've got some sick branding going on right now on the side of the building.
Oh yeah, I thanks, man. I decided to like kind of name it like Franky Needles podcast, like just like a podcast rather than like just having guests on all the time and talking at random and not naming anything or not numbering the episodes or anything like that. So I figured to do that. The branding came from my Pixel Buster team. That's my gaming team. Mm-hmm. And you had asked me about them before. It's a group of us that we've been friends for forever, and we play video games together and stuff like that. So when I got into Axie Infinity, I started to show them like, hey, this is game I'm playing that I think you guys would be good at. And so I got them all started, and then we all kind of got into it and done really well. So, and then, we'll probably do other things with gaming in the future, but, that's kind of been the main thing for now.
I think we'll see more and more of that in the future as like gaming really takes off. Definitely you're going to get sort of guilds. I think that's something that Decentraland's working towards, primarily towards Decentraland, but what you're going to get is a whole bunch of guilds who play various games together and go kick ass in Axies, then come over for a tournament in Decentraland, then head over to Zed to race some horses. I think that's the way we're headed.
Well, especially with more play to earn stuff. Like, when I first got into Axie, it was definitely about play, and it wasn't definitely nothing about earn. And then I heard about earn, but I didn't really think too much of it. Over time, I've done really well with it between keeping up with the market prices or whatever, and breeding and stuff like that, and grabbing land early and items and stuff like that. So I started to understand the play to earn aspect is kind of like understanding the game at large, and then how to take advantage in in a different way. Maybe not just like point and shoot and then get your prize, but more like what can you do to if you have these assets to sell for money, or which ones are worth more, which ones are more rare. When you dive into these things, you can maybe get a little bit more out of it than somebody else that's just playing like a couple times. Oh, I got my ass whooped, I'm out of here.
I don't know. For me, Axie is the girl that got away, man. Like, I never invested, and I should have definitely invested in that earlier doors. Like, I met the guys very, very briefly, like 2 years ago at Hong Kong, at the NFT conference that there was there. Yeah. Really briefly, got some like free Axies just for attending or what have you. And I checked them the other day, and I still haven't birthed them or made. I don't know how it works, but you like they're babies basically. They're just like.
What is the? I'm gonna have to go, Rio. We're gonna have to have a conversation because what's the number on those things? If the number is
like 8,000 something.
8,000 is not bad. It's old, but it's not ancient.
No, it's not ancient. No, but I don't know whether to birth them or just to leave them, and I don't know. Like, aren't you guys on like 200,000 now?
Yeah, I bred the 180,000 the other day. Yeah. I think it's at like in the mid 180s or something like that.
But the reason I'm disappointed that I didn't get invested sooner is because not only for the financial reason, because obviously it would have been hugely profitable, but also because of what they were achieving, like in these with mobile gaming. This is something I care quite a lot about, and NFT, owning your assets to be able to sell them and make a living. Like, I've spent a lot of time traveling, like for the past 2 years whilst I've been creating DCLPlazas. Up until the virus, I've been traveling the world as a digital nomad. So I've not been in one place. I've been living in third world countries, and I've seen like people who like struggle and work their ass off for like $5 a day. Now, if they can make a few dollars here there, it makes a huge difference to those.
100%.
I really would like to be involved in a project that can do that, and actually it turns out was the one. And for that reason, I would have loved to have been involved. In fact, if I had known they would be where they are today and helping. I read an article about people in the Philippines who are doing real well. They're almost matching their daily income off of playing and selling love potions.
Oh yeah,
that's amazing for me. Like,
and that's not even talking about selling the Axies themselves. That's just
exactly
like as if you were just to play and sell your love potions. But if you can stand to hold off for a week and a half and don't sell those love potions and then make another Axie, you can sell that Axie for probably a lot more than the love potions. So it's depending. You got to get better at breeding. It took me a couple of tries, but yeah. I mean, I would. Yeah, there's ways to do it, is what I'm saying.
And aren't the startup costs relatively low as well compared to like these?
Yeah, if you were to start off with like something small, the issue is, right, if you start with like the cheaper Axies, you're probably not gonna have Axies that are gonna breed like phenomenal Axies. But generally, you're still making what you paid in gas and SLP back, and if you're catching that at decent gas prices, it's kind of a dance. But
yeah,
if you get it right, you should be, you should be okay for sure.
I really like what they're doing, and I also I'm really excited about a few other NFT projects that are coming through. Mainly the gaming side of things. That's where my focus is. And as I've been investing for 2 years now in NFTs, so I know what I'm doing. I know my shit, and I know how to research, and I definitely know what a good NFT is from a bad NFT.
Yeah.
Although I have been burnt a couple of times, but we'll go into that. So yes, I think one I'm really excited about at the moment is Avagotchi. So they just did their raffle today, and they're trying to make it
looking for my pen.
So whales can't come in and just take all the best stuff,
Yeah.
Write that down. Avagotchi. So it's AAVE. Gotchi.
Oh, double A. Okay.
Honestly, I'd put aside at least a few hours just to read their white paper or read their light paper. And,
they got a light paper?
They got a light paper and a white paper, yeah.
So tell me, what is a light paper? Because I'm...
The light paper is like a condensed version of the white paper. So you don't have to read the whole thing because it's extensive. What they're going to do is incredible. So the way they're giving... So they just started with their wearables today. So they made you buy a raffle ticket. And the raffle ticket was done via Chainlink VRT, which is sort of like you and I, just keeping it basic because I'm not very tech-minded at all, but ultimately it's on the blockchain raffles, which are probably fair. And then everybody, even if you have 1 ticket or 100 tickets, you have the chance to win one of these mythical or legendary items. And that just happened maybe 3 or 4 hours ago, and that's only the first stage. That's just the tip of the iceberg of where this game is going. So you're starting with wearables, and then you'll move. I'll give you a really quick overview.
Yeah.
So they're starting with wearables, then they're moving to portals. Where portals are NFTs.
Okay.
And when you buy one of these portals, you click on it, and it'll give you 10 different options of Arvagotchi, which are these little pixelated creature things. And you can choose which one you want, but you have to stake some of the coin which is related to that in the Avagotchi. So it might be a die Avagotchi, and you've got to stake some die into it in order to create it, and then you can add wearables to it, and then that creates its value through scarcity. And you can play a whole bunch of games with these things as well in the future. So it's a really exciting project.
Okay.
And not only that, so in order to get a wearable, you could either the main way was to buy some of their ghost coin. Then you would stake the coin, which would give you X amount of friends per day, and then you buy raffle tickets for friends and maybe win a wearable. Does that make sense?
Here we go. Okay. This sounds good, although it sounds like a racket, man.
Oh, bro, honestly, like it's taking everything we know from DeFi and NFT and all the tech that's available and smashing it into one project, and let's see what happens.
Yeah. It sounds crazy. It just sounds like It sounds like things are gonna get extremely expensive over there. That's all.
Maybe lucrative. You never know. So,
maybe, yeah. No, I can see it getting like lucrative for the early investors. I just wonder, how far people are gonna go with that model. You jamming a bunch of money into a guy, and then the next guy has to do the same. I'm seeing this kind of get spiral out of control. To the point where
absolutely spiked.
You know what I'm saying? To the point where now there's some guy that has a $50 million Avagotchi, and you're like, okay, we've gone too far. The tulip, bubble has popped. That type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, but the project has got some real smart minds behind it. I don't want to talk too long about Avagotchi, but definitely I can recommend to everybody here, take a look at it. I don't think I've been excited about a project as much since I heard about Decentraland coming. So take a look.
Okay. I'll put a star next to it. So what was the other project you were going to talk about?
So that was the main one. Like that's the one that's really excited me at the moment because it just includes everything from a lot of things from like DeFi, NFTs, all wrapped into one with some like super smart coders in there. And it encourages you to learn about the things like staking, like. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, another thing that I'm really interested to learn about is sharding. I think that's going to be like it's already started.
100%.
I don't claim to be an expert, but I'm definitely investigating next. Especially any NFT owner should be aware of it anyway.
Yeah, no, I've noticed that. Let's say around the summertime, I looked into it. And then when I went to click on something, I was like interested to shard in like one of my old wearables, and so I was like, let me see if this would work. And as soon as I got on the website, they're like, "You're from America, get out of here before you get in trouble." Like,
oh really?
Okay.
You can't do it in America?
I guess not. I guess you can VPN and all that, but I'm not all that. Yeah, I'm just like, all right, cool. I'll do it some other way.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a whole bunch of projects out there anyway, so it's not like we're short on choice. Another one I'm interested in is Blancos as well. Like, let's see where
Blancos, yeah. No, I've been, Blancos worries me because it's everywhere, and I'm like, I don't know, is this, oversaturation of what do you call it, marketing? But you get the feeling it's gonna work. It's beautiful looking,
Yeah, and they've been working on it for a hell of a long time. Like, they were promised a sale like last summer, and it's only just come back now. So I think they're just concentrating on getting a really solid project and product together, and the beta starts in 4 days' time. So I'm interested to see that. It's not really my sort of game, but let's just see what happens with that. It's not built on Ethereum either. So, and I think the developers come from a crypto background, so it's interesting their take on scarcity.
Yeah.
But that's another conversation. That's a conversation for another day.
We can have that conversation.
We can have that conversation now. Yeah. So they've released. You can now like buy in the pre-sale. There's 4 different blancos, 4 different characters. They've taken on a really cool approach by collaborating with some really cool artists, and they've designed the patterns that go on these blancos. They will be limited edition. However, what the development team have decided to do is by limited, their version of limited is nowhere near our version of limited. So they're sort of preparing for millions of players all at once, and they're sort of preparing their scarcity in line with that. So I think, from what I can gather, they're planning on 10,000 scarcity of each one. Now that's not scarce by any means of exaggeration.
Oh, yeah. I mean, unless you're expecting 2 million users the day you drop. You know?
Well, that's it exactly. And you, for me, you can't budget scarcity on a user base that you're planning for. It needs to be done as it is now. That makes it scarce. But hey, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. I almost bought a founders pack a couple weeks ago, and then for some reason the ETH transaction didn't go through, and I don't know, something else shiny.
Did you back out?
Something else shiny. You know, it was like, you know how it goes. You know, when you're shopping, you know, when you're out shopping, you just you can get out of here. Look at that, you know.
Are you one of those guys as well who goes like to the supermarket? It's like, I'm not spending $5 on coffee. I'll get it for $3, but then you'll spend like $500 on like an NFT wearable or something like that.
Absolutely, I am exactly that guy. I was joking the other day. Somebody was saying something about my outfit, and I was like, I definitely have more wearables for this guy than probably I've ever had for myself. You know, definitely more expensive. I'd never paid that much money for clothes, but you know, it makes sense to me this way. I don't know. That's cool. Yeah, I was joking with someone because, you know, I have a lot of NFTs, and, you know, I just keep them up for sale at different prices or whatever. And so it's like sometimes, you know, with NFTs, this money kind of falls out the sky, you know, it's just kind of like, exactly. Look at that. Something sold I forgot I even had for sale a year ago. Cool, you know.
So here's a question for you, Franky. How are you? So you own a lot of NFTs at the moment. Obviously, you paid for them in ETH. Are you concerned about like ETH going crazy, like hitting $1,000 or $1,500, and then being able to get an ROI off of your NFTs? Or not?
Many of my NFTs that have already ROI, you know. So most of my NFTs are bought off of ROI, you know. So like it's just kind of like that. In the beginning, when I first get into any NFT, I'll flip a couple just to make sure I kind of am a part of that first. And then, you know, I'll keep a couple for myself if the project keeps going further, and then I'll decide if I want to invest more, you know? So it starts off like slow. I've made some money. All right, I'm going to do a little bit more at this. Some money comes in from some other random thing. Throw that at that, you know, and it kind of is like this, again, it's like a dance that I do depending on what I've been, you know, kind of into. Like, actually, lately it's been kind of heavy for me, so it's kind of like we've been doing pretty well with breeding and selling, so it's been going back into breeding and selling, or items and land, and, you know, you kind of, and even the shards, I bought a bunch of shards, you know, so it, you know, I do what I know the most, and then everything else is kind of like, I throw crazy bets out there, and sometimes they don't work. And if they don't work, it's crypto, so I just forget about them, and sometimes that money comes out of nowhere. You're like, oh, look at that. That's up 10,000% for no reason one day. Like, cool.
But you just gave a really sweet piece of advice there, and let's go back to that, because when you said you buy into a project and then sell a few to get your money back, that's a smart thing to do. Because not only are you testing the market, but you're also seeing, okay, so I bought this NFT now. What is the demand for it? Like, so if I'm... Instead of like chucking a whole bunch of ether, if you buy one, at the moment at least you can sell it, and if you can sell it at break even, that's great, because there is the market there and there is the liquidity there. I'd recommend doing that with every project. I always buy a few and then keep my investment low, 1, 2 ETH, somewhere around there, and then sell them immediately. And then if you make a little profit, great, which you should be aiming for, obviously. But also, that gives you sort of a reassurance that project is doing well and it has interest, and there are other people doing what you're doing.
Yeah, the only one that I didn't do that with was Top Shot, because they have like this weird model where you got to be with like the Dapper wallet or something like that, where it has to go. You got to sell it in their money, or unless you sell it on some random, like I guess in the Discord. But I've been like not very interested in Top Shot as far as marketplace until they figure that out. So for the time being, people are buying and selling them. I have some old Top Shot stuff sitting there, so it's like cool. But that's the only one I really didn't do that with. But if there's an active market, I try to get in it first, because I enjoy that. Like I like the grabbing something for a low and trying to get it at a different price. It's been I've always been into that, so I get into that first, feel kind of confident about a project, and then maybe go a little further. But lately, it's been less and less projects. I've been kind of wanting just coin, because you get so many NFTs. Like, wait a minute, do I even have money? For real, man. Like I feel broke sometimes. Like I don't know if I should feel broke.
It doesn't really feel real sometimes until you cash out into your bank account, I guess.
Oh, I mean, you ain't lying.
Oh, but you just hit on another point there. Like, so what do you think about all these new projects that are coming through that are sort of starting to try and onboard people to use fiat in order to buy into these games, like Blancos, you use a credit card, like NFT Top Shot again, and Nifty Gateway. These sort of, I don't know, what do you think? I think it's a great
those companies want the general public, because I think they pay a premium. I think you talked about that with somebody one time, right?
I had a brief talk with somebody,
some sort of Discord thing that we were in. Yeah, but basically, I think that they're looking for the general public to catch on with that model. So you're like, you don't gotta be some weirdo crypto guy. You can just pay with your regular money.
That credit card out, baby. Let's play.
Definitely. But yeah, I think it's great. I think that's gonna be the next move too. And then I'm not sure. I'd like to see what happens with PayPal and all these people that are gonna integrate crypto, and how deep they're gonna go, and how easy it's gonna be for people to get into crypto. Because at that point, you might start to see a lot more people trying. I'm watching some sort of news broadcast yesterday talking about the price of Bitcoin, because we're obviously getting there. So they're talking about how like all these accredited investor people are now saying Bitcoin is good now, but that's when you're going to start to see a lot of people saying, okay, well, these people say it's okay. PayPal put a little thingy so I can make it easy for me. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then you're going to start to see people that money can start to trickle. Once you figure out something about Bitcoin, you realize like it's not that fun. Like it's a great investment. It's not that fun. It's not like, you don't like gold is straight. You can wear a necklace or something. Bitcoin, it just sits there. So, with the stuff that we do is a lot more fun. And when you find out that people are having fun, you're like, all right, wait a minute. I'm going over there for a minute,
Here's a bit of advice as well for anybody like who wasn't around from last time that Bitcoin went crazy. I'd say if you are holding Bitcoin, then be prepared. Like last time, I was so not prepared for it to hit 20 grand, and then I held it all the way to the bottom. Have a plan this time. This is not financial advice, but my plan. Now there's more options available and more get outs, because you don't want to be cashing out a whole bunch of money and taking it into fiat currency. You just don't want to be doing that. What you want to be doing is holding it in the ecosystem, but you need it to be safe. So you don't want to leave it on the exchange either. So what I personally will be doing is cashing it out into DAI and then switching it over to MetaMask in my hardware wallet. So that way you're still holding the value. You're not taking it into the traditional system. And maybe you could stake it in Aave or just leave it there and then it holds its value that way. I think it just take me a long time to realize how much I've messed up there. And just anybody who is holding any Bitcoin and you feel like the time is right or the price is right for you, I'd say cash it out then into DAI and transfer it into a safe place wherever you can. But hopefully you all have a hardware wallet. That would be my recommendation anyway. But this is not financial advice. Don't sue me.
Yeah, I mean, I still got to get me a better game plan. I know that, but it kind of all happened for me out of nowhere. So it was like, and it's not like I got a ton of money anyway, but I know that I got to figure out a plan as far as like my hardware wallet and maybe multiple wallets. I think that I got a little bit too much going on. I like my NFT wallet to be just NFTs and no coin type thing.
Yeah. Just going back to blockchain gaming a little bit, a game that might not be on everybody's radar is Soccer Manager Elite. So they've just launched their like beta. They've been building also for 2 years. I've been following those guys, and for anybody who's ever played like sort of Football Manager or any sort of soccer manager game, it is fantastic the way they've done it. They've done it like so. At the moment, it's just play money. But you're going to use their crypto, which is Chai, CHI. It's built on Xaya, XAYA, and do a little bit of research on that and see if it's the sort of thing you'd be interested in. So essentially, you can buy shares in a soccer team and you play. It doesn't go off real world games. You sort of sort out your tactics yourself, like you would do a video game. Only there's crypto involved, and exactly like fantasy football. And I take a look at that now because they're doing beta testing. I'm joining there. You have to apply to be a manager of a team, and then the shareholders are the ones that vote you in, or you may not get voted in. And then you each week, if you win, you accrue more money. Alternatively, you could be a player agent, and what you do is you buy shares in an individual football player. So if he does well in a fantasy game, you can do the negotiations to sell him on to another club, and then you get kickbacks all the time for being his agent.
Okay, so what you're describing here is, first of all, awesome. But second of all, I'm picturing a larger scale thing now. So I'm saying, like, right, let's say that same model, but there was a video game involved. And let's say you had FIFA, right? And then you had people that were like professional FIFA guys. Like they were involved with this league now. That you take the player agent out and you make it just a player, So the player plays out there in the video game, and they play these high stake video games. You see what I'm saying?
Hell yeah! So you sponsor, like you sort of take shares in a player's success.
Yeah, so you're like playing like a fantasy football, basketball, baseball, soccer video game. Somebody's actually playing out there, and you're betting on this player or these group of players that you have in your portfolio, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, somebody just mentioned there that you need enough players to work. I don't think there's any lack of players for this one. Like there's people are fighting over clubs to get votes and sort of putting their sort of experience forward in order to be the manager of their favorite club.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm saying is the concept I can see. Like the concept sounds, if you have like this, whatever it may be, if you're doing a simulation in your case or in a case like what I'm thinking about is having like sports players do it. It could be you can make it like esports league and then have people be interested in that way, kind of financially.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting to see where things are going to go, and I think somebody's going to play around with that. And if you get like a big VC firm who get behind a project like that, we're in for interesting times, man. Yeah. Let's stop being butchers and bakers. No time for that. Let's do something different. Let's move ahead. We're in the digital age now.
Definitely. Somebody get me a VC on the phone. We're getting started. We're doing this now. Fantasy, esports, crypto style. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And if you're the first there, jackpot, baby. Just get in first. Yeah. Learn it. Get in first.
Well, if anybody out there in the crowd wants to hit me up and start doing this right now, let's go. I think that's a really good concept, and gaming. I think the gaming community. I think we've seen the art community kind of take to crypto. The gaming community, I guess, would be next. Outside of the random speculators and investors, like somebody to use crypto in a meaningful fashion. So those people, I think, are up next. They're going to be the ones that would go out of their way to get something that benefits them digitally. So, whatever, maybe an in-game item or whatever, but prizes for a tournament. But just like, I'm a gamer, I'm willing to take the extra step to learn crypto to get involved with this thing that's going to probably, make me some profit,
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's the way we're going, and I hope so. And if we are, then everybody here today is like, we're the first people to do this. And you're the first in there. You know, like this is it's after like the recent explosion of people coming into NFTs from crypto. I got sort of the same sort of vibes as I did when I was first in crypto. It's really exciting. It sort of becomes a more Wild West. You get the scammers, you get the copies, you get, you know, all this sort of going on. And it is exciting. It's wild.
Yeah, it's funny. Last year I said that, and I was like, you know, talking to a friend of mine at the time when we were selling wearables at the time, right? We were doing some, you know, making some money, but I was seeing where it could go, and I'm like, man, I feel like I'm mining Bitcoin in 2009 or something. Like, this is crazy, you know, just that, you know, you see that. Because, you know, if I have something like, I'm wearing a jacket right now, 1 to 10, right? Now, if we had 2 million users, no one would even know, you know, stuff like that wouldn't even exist. Like, it'd be like, you know, who has that? Because it's a 1 to 10, it's a 1 to 5, it's a 1 of whatever, you know. No one would even ever see someone with something like that because there'd be millions of people walking around or whatever, you know. So, you know, we're not obviously there yet, but if we got there, that's the reason why I felt like that at the time, you know.
And will we get there, Frankie? That's the question. That's a $10 million question. Will we get there?
It's going to depend on if we can get regular people to want to not even want to, but be able to seamlessly come in here for an experience, you know? That's not really up to me specifically. Obviously, I'll play my part, but, you know, I think it's up to all of us to kind of just, I don't know, build the thing, like, so when people do get here, that there's not like completely nothing for them to do or see or anything like that, you know. So we keep working, you know. That's our role, is that, you know, as the first people here, you just keep working, like, oh, you know, come up with this idea, mess around, build it, whatever. As we go along, as I walk around, I walk around sometimes, I just randomly, and you see like random things out there, and you're like, okay, there's more stuff happening out here. Somebody came up with an idea, deployed it on the map, you know, and as that happens, then when the people actually come in, the actual people that we're looking for, you know, the new users, the people that are non-crypto people, and they have some cool experience to see, you know, then they have at least a good example, as like I did with the grid, you know. Now, my grid was really impressive to me because I was like, I could see exactly what this could be. But to a newer person that's going to be more of like a user in Decentraland, they're going to need to see more than just the grid, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think like everybody has a part to play as well. Like regardless of your skill set, I think everybody has something to play. Like whether that be creating content, or whether that be programming, or it could be anything, or just posting on Twitter about what's happening. You know,
a world is gonna need everything. You know, so you know I used to talk like joking, like you know the trolls. We need them too. You know, and we need anybody that's It's a world. You know. So, you know, I have my battles with people who are, like, kind of trolling and that kind of thing, but without them, like, you wouldn't have somebody not liking a project if there wasn't eyes on the project. You know, if you thought something was, like, terrible, but nobody paid attention to it, you wouldn't even say anything about it, you know?
Yeah.
So if there's people out there saying things in the negative about the project or, you know, whatever it is, then you know that somebody's looking at it, you know? So you need everything. You need, you know, the good, bad, and the in between. You know.
I'm just really encouraged by like recently we've seen a few people come into this space. Sorry if I don't mention your name, but like Yo Crypto, Juxton, Blogging Jesus, those sort of guys. They're the sort of guys we need to like, because they really get involved and they buy into this and they see the experience that it can give you, and it is a really cool experience. And I don't know, like, I think anybody who can just, like, sort of spread the word and just sees Decentraland for not only what it is currently, but what it can be, I think, more.
Yeah, I think that at this point, that's where you have to be at, you know. When you bring a new person in that wants to be just completely wowed kind of thing, you know, they're going to come in and they're going to start asking for things like, well, is there VR or is this and you're, like, not looking at what you're not really seeing the picture in front of you, you know. Like I said, to me, the grid to them needs to be maybe something that's a little bit more out in front, you know, some sort of amusement park or some thing they can do, some sort of interaction they can do. I think the financial interactions in World will change things heavily when those become easy, you know?
Yeah.
So when you can just buy things.
I'd like to see that sooner rather than later as well.
Yeah. You know, I've been kind of thinking about that lately. Like, if you could just sell things, and I know you can in certain ways, but I'm saying, like, I don't know, if financial interactions were a little easier and more common, then maybe you'd have people come in a little bit more often if there was something they felt like they needed to buy in the world,
I think we'll get there. We will get there. Like, there are obviously the barriers, like just even getting hold of some mana. That they still exist for many. If you come from crypto, that's fair enough. But if we're going to concentrate on onboarding people who aren't traditionally from the crypto world, then there should be probably an easier way to facilitate that. And I think MetaMask has to be the way to do it. I've noticed recently you can swap coins within MetaMask. That for me, that's a great start. I mean, to be able to just install MetaMask and buy whatever you need to through that, or Dapper, or whatever it may be, and just buy it directly with your card. I think that's the way it has to go, because that's the only way people are going to get it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and people have brought this up the other day. I was listening to it on the whip or something, and they were saying, like, you don't know that there's going to be a better wallet. We all are really comfortable with MetaMask, but a better wallet might not hurt, Somebody that does this not like me, where I just like, oh yeah, because I tell my friends, you just got to download MetaMask, and it's like, that's the first stop. They're like, wait a minute, what's that? How do you? I don't understand. And you spend half your day telling them about MetaMask and about what it does and what it is, installing it. It's just a browser extension. It's just, holy shit, and then you haven't even got past MetaMask, So maybe there is a better wallet solution that's a little bit easier, a little bit more point and click, a little bit less, like, not everyone, even though me and you might want our keys, not everybody wants to manage their keys. And maybe there's a solution that makes it so people don't have to manage their keys, but the keys are secure. I think that's going to be another huge development, that we don't even, a lot of people don't talk about, but the easier it is for somebody to get their money to this and be able to interact in this, that's going to make life easier on everybody.
I did see somebody mention a cool alternative earlier on today, actually, in one of these Discord chats, and it's called Rainbow, and you can actually see your NFTs. It's relatively new. I forget the thing now. I'll try and find it. Just give me 2 seconds. No, it's not on here. I'll try and find it. It's called Rainbow, and maybe you can find it. And it's an extension, not too dissimilar from MetaMask, but you can actually see your NFT and see what it is like. So if you've got a crypto punk, you can see the punk in there.
What's funny about that? The MetaMask phone app. I used to be able to see all my NFTs, and now,
oh, did you?
I don't know if that's the case anymore. My phone is, I broke that new phone, and so I had to go back to the old phone. So I don't even think about doing technology on that phone. That's actually that's a house phone, really. For real, and like a radio in my car. But other than that, that thing really doesn't have any use. So, but yeah, I used to be able to see my NFTs right on the phone there, and then it was weird because they had more functionality on the phone, it felt, than they did on the computer, like more better user tools or whatever, and then whatever. But it would be nice to have something that kind of, the UI could be a little bit better. That's all. It's very techy right now. We all are very techy. That's cool, but you know what I'm saying, like. It could be a little bit more eye-popping, big button point right here to spend your money type thing,
Yeah. No, I get you. I get my phone's got cracks all down the screen. Like I have to press it super hard to even press a number or anything. So I don't. Me and mobile phones don't get on too well. If I don't break them, I lose them. So I don't tend to get the fancy new phones or anything like that. I've never owned an iPhone or anything. So
yeah. With phones, it's like, I don't know. I'd rather pay so much more money to put in my computer system or buy another laptop. With that kind of money, the phone is the last extra money that I spend. Like I'd rather spend money on almost everything else but my phone.
Yeah.
Although it's nice when you get a new one, man. It's just, you spend like a whole day looking at the new features. But
Franky, you spend way too long shopping for wearables and axes, bro. Cash a few in.
I hate cashing a few in. That's the problem. it becomes a problem. Me and I agree to talk about that a lot. It's just like not wanting to let any of them go, you know? Not let anything go. I don't want to sell nothing. Things like I tell you, like anything that I really have has been already kind of ROI, you know? And it's like, still, I don't want...
You see, that's the difference between a collector and a trader, you see. So collectors... they get emotionally attached to their NFTs. I'm like that as well. I could not.
Well, it's not emotionally attached to the NFTs. I'm emotionally attached to the crypto. So, so like it can sell as an NFT. Cool. I'm not really trying to take any of the crypto out. I'd hate to put it in the bank account and then tomorrow I see the thing go up 2x and I'm like, you know.
Damn.
Yeah. So there's very few times I take out as little as possible right now and just try to hodl as much as I can, or try to work my money. Like that's really what I do is I work it. You know, I'm doing something.
That's great advice. That's great advice. So we're almost hitting an hour now.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a question though.
Okay.
ETH 2.0, switching to validators. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean,
Good thing, bad thing.
I'm hoping that it switches the gas situation, the transactions. If that's the case, because that's going to change things for NFTs. So that's my number one concern for ETH 2.0 is if we get more transactions a second, if it works like that and it betters our life, it's going to better the economy for NFTs probably a lot, in my opinion. And then as far as the validating and stuff like that goes, I think that if the price takes off for ETH, people will love it. So I think that, there's everybody saying it's kind of 15%, 8 to 15% is no good. If ETH was $3,000, you wouldn't be saying any of that. So, because you'd have 32 ETH and it'd be $3,000 a piece, and you'd be getting 15% on that, and then whatever that grows.
But then, if you think about it as well, you could probably easily get your money back a damn sight quicker than you could do in 2 years if you just traded NFTs for ETH,
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, there's always, the risky play. But if I had 300 ETH, what's 32 ETH to put to the side? Just, hey, never know, So I think that it's just levels of who would be involved in validating ETH. But it's just I don't think it's a bad gig,
But what if, because in crypto, things change quickly.
Right.
So what if another chain came over in those 2 years and just totally smashed ETH out of the park? At the moment, it seems unlikely, but it's definitely possible.
I think that's why you get the stakers. As a organization as ETH, that's why you get the stakers. That's why people have they give liquidity pool rewards. It's the same idea. It's if you're with us, we give you this reward, this reward for being with us, and that strengthens the whole system in the whole first place. So I think that the more validators you get, the more people validating ETH that you get, the stronger the system's going to be, the harder it's going to be for another chain to take over like that, we've seen other chains have scaling issues on the slightest of action, So I'm not sold on any other chain until I see them do the kind of action that ETH has done over the past few years. So it's going to take a chain 2-3 years of showing that they can do that many transactions over that much time, have that many things built on it, and then take over. So it would be 4 to 5 years before you see something take over, even if it was started right now.
I see that. I do entirely get that. However, I've seen things change so quickly in such a short amount of time. Real big ass coins or real big ass projects just fall to nothing. Not as big as ETH, but they've fallen to nothing because a new tech has come along and just boom. Actually, this does what you do 10 times better. Or maybe I think I'd be more concerned about. Or I don't know. I'd probably get behind the project like Block, which is trying to make all these blockchains speak together, in which case Ethereum will be one of just a few blockchains. And
I've heard of these things, and I think that could be a really good solution for just blockchain technology. And maybe in that scenario, right, where maybe that kind of makes it where ETH is not as sought after for everyday dApps, let's say, right? But maybe there is a specific use case then that they go after, and it's more high end, because they're more established. So they're like, this is more secure. We've been doing this for too long, Yeah, we're using all these different blockchains, but if you go to this one, you've got those risks. You got those risks, But Ethereum's been doing it. So I think that it could be like that, where they end up like an old company, whereas like Bell Atlantic turned to this and that turned into Verizon. Like these companies are just like kind of graduate into the next system,
Yeah.
Could be that.
Nice. They're all fair comments.
Yeah. I guess we should leave it there. Rio, amazing talking to you always,
Thanks for having me, man. Like,
definitely.
We've really like gone right across the board here. I like that.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it was really good having you. I'm glad I got a chance to talk with you, because it's like, it was real comfortable for me. You know what I'm saying? We talk a lot. People don't know we talk a lot, so it's like real cool to just kind of hang out.
Yeah, man.
Anything you want to say before you go? Let the people know about anything like that.
Just keep an eye out for what's going on with DCLPlazas. Like, I think I'd really appreciate like any input that you guys have got, like where you want to see things going. I've sort of got a million ideas which I'm juggling with right now. I am going to stick with one and go with it. I just need to make sure that it's the right one, which is probably why I've been creating much less content and spending much more time putting a solid strategy together. But yeah, let's see what happens. And either way, I'm really excited for DCLPlazas and where we can go. It'd be nice to start building out some more communities such as Whale and things like that. I do see what they're doing as a fantastic thing. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to maybe look at getting something similar set up, maybe not to that scale, but let's see where things go.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. Well, we'll talk soon. Thanks so much for coming. Thank you, everybody, for being in the building. We very much appreciate it. Take it easy. We'll talk next time.